Hi there, I'm the Reverend Keith Sari, the vicar of St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Tombstone, Arizona. This is the first church I've ever pastored as an Anglican priest. Previously, I'd served in some Baptist ministries, but I'm continuing this series that I'm calling Confessions of a New Anglican Priest. And simply, I wish to share about my experience ministering in a church for the first time as an Anglican, and to talk about lessons that I'm learning, and to share with you what the successes have been as well as the failures, in hopes of helping other new priests as they get into their new ministries. But today in particular, what I want to talk about is something that was very important to me early on coming into this church. Now, I'm sure many of you have experienced visiting a church, and then all of a sudden you receive the worship program, and truthfully, sometimes they can be very shoddy, very sloppy, hard to follow along. Perhaps they are printed up in all bold-faced fonts that are kind of hard on the eyes to read, or perhaps the rights are put all in italics, and that can also be difficult on the eyes. Or perhaps there are page turns in places that don't make good logical sense, like if a sentence is just kind of cut off, and rather than having a page turn after the end of a sentence. And so I did find that the church had been using bulletins like that, which I thought truthfully could be improved upon. And so to me, it was very important early on that I get to work at my desktop, writing up a brand new program for the church, one that would look good, that would have a font that is easy to read, one where the rubrics really helped the user, so that it would be user friendly as well. You have to make decisions when you're drafting up a worship program, because truthfully, sometimes you only have so much space to work with because of the Word document. And of course, you don't want to put together a booklet that is too large, and makes it very challenging, because then you can't even staple the pages together. And so you got to keep that in mind as well. And so sometimes I found that I had to memorize the rubrics, and then as I would lead the congregation through the worship service, I would just have to explain the rubrics without them having been printed on the page. But yeah, I thought it was very important to improve in that area, and I will say that people did compliment the result of that effort. Folks did tell me, compliments like, "Hey, this looks very nice. This is easy to use. Oh, I really like what you did here." And so I would encourage new priests to really look carefully at the worship program that the church is passing out on Sundays, and try to see if you can improve upon it. Make it more user-friendly. Use a font that is easy to read. Make it look elegant so that people like looking at the pages. If you use like a very ugly font, or one that is just dull, well, it just doesn't really cut it, honestly. So, think of aesthetics, in the worship program. That is an important matter. Beauty does matter, okay? And if you have a good, excellent looking program, I think people are going to take a higher view of the church and the quality of effort that you're putting into the ministry, okay? And so anyhow, that's been good for us. Now, for the people, maybe perhaps the seniors who are hard of seeing, I did the same thing for them, in that I had to redesign the bulletin for them and give them one that was a size 22 font. And so we use the Garamond font, and I go size 22. But then, of course, if you go size 22, then that means the rest of the program can get quite long, okay? So what I did there is I edited out the unnecessary parts for them to read along, like during the Eucharistic prayer. I really chopped that out so that they don't really have access to read the whole thing during the service. Instead, they're going to have to listen to me when I'm offering up that prayer. And also, too, I realized just about everyone has the Lord's Prayer memorized. And so I didn't have to print up or include the whole thing for the Lord's Prayer. Instead, I just started off with, Our Father who art in heaven, and then ... with the ellipsis, so that the congregants will know that they just continue on praying it from memory. Okay, so if you can rely on a memory, then that means you don't have to print it in the program, and that can save you space. Okay, but so I put a lot of work into this every week. It takes a lot of my time, but it has been worth it. It has helped the congregation a lot, so that when we come together for worship, the rites just flow smoothly. There are no hiccups. The congregation knows what to expect next, and we're on board now. Doing the worship without any trouble, getting lost, or it being disjointed as well. Okay, so I really encourage new priests, make sure that worship program looks good, that is beautiful, that it's a delight to the eyes, and that will really do you a lot of favor in return. So again, I'm Reverend Keith Sawyer from St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Tombstone, Arizona, and I invite you to come visit us if you're ever in the area. God bless.